The chair would like to call to order tonight's meeting of the regular meeting of the CUSD 201 Board of Education. It's May 14th, 2019. And roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mrs. Charlton.
Here.
Mrs. Coyle.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Rudy.
Here.
Mrs. Strohmeyer. Ms. Wilson. Thank you.
If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am on this fever. Yeah.
We're going to, this is one of the best meetings that we can have at this time of year with the students. So we're going to do our approval of minutes after this, and we're going to start with the students and then the staff recognition. So first, we're going to have Miller, please.
Got the wobbly table.
When I are in the same color.
I got the memo.
Good evening. I'm Mr. Weiler. I'm the Miller School principal, and I do have to apologize ahead of time. We had a couple baseball games moved due to tonight's awards, so we will have a couple people exiting shortly after, but they're going straight to their baseball game here at Ty Warner Park, so thank you for understanding. Thank you, school board members, Mr. Carey, district staff, parents, students, and members of the 201 community. We are very excited to honor our students here tonight. Like it was stated earlier, is one of the most exciting meetings of the year here at the high school. But tonight we are celebrating student leadership, integrity, and hard work from second semester at Miller School. Our first group of students is being recognized for the new 3D Award. The Miller 3D Award goes to honoring students that have been working very hard towards their goals, making progress, and growing as a learner. They are dedicated to progress and making gains at school. They are diligent and consistent in their efforts at school, and we call this the 3D Award for our students, displaying high levels of dedication, being distinctive and a member of the school community, and diligent as they finish out their 2018-19 school year. So please hold your applause until all our kindergarten through fifth grade students head up to the podium, but we do have a few students to recognize starting in fifth grade. We have Ashley Anima, come on up. Dayanara Torres, Alexander Acevedo, Michael Frasick, Connor Brandani, Karma Mack, Genoa Crowley, Robin Montgomery, Daniel Cornell Ivanti Byram, Aaliyah Delgado, Athena Sinadinos, and Lucas Hines, our kindergarten students. Please join me. The last three, yes. Please join me in honoring our 3D Award winners. Parents, this is a good time to take a picture. They'll be up here for about 20 seconds. Congratulations, students. Go ahead and make your way back to your seats. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Woo! Our next award is for students dedicated to being a good citizen and a positive member of our classroom. We call this Following the Miller Way. Students presented with Good Citizen Award have made it their priority to be a role model, be responsible, and continually following the Miller Way at Miller School. These students show compassion, they take on extra responsibilities for their actions, they work towards being a good friend for everyone, and they help protect our surrounding environment. These students also have a positive attitude and model this attitude throughout our school building. So again, please hold your applause for all the students until they are up here. But our first student for the Miller Citizen Award is Angel Gonzalez. Dylan Rafferty. Noah Anderson. Perla Taliz. Adam Freeman. AJ Slowick. Kimberly Ramirez. Kai Ray. Damian Hurtado. Deacon Alfaro. Crystal Rodriguez. Christian Shimowski. Audrey Nobles. Daniela Garcia. Danny Upierre. Rayleigh Shirley. Anthony Sims Lopez. Billy Iverson. Mateo Boggs. Sage Ing. Luis Tellez. Nathan Lance. Abigail Kamen. Taylor Toes. Ellis Blackman. And Ronnie Roberson. Come on up. All right, parents, please join me in honoring our Miller Citizen Award winners. Say cheese to your parents. Cheese. All right, go ahead and have a seat. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight's final award at Miller is titled the Miller Scholar Award. The Scholar Award goes to students that show an exceptional amount of enthusiasm for learning. They are focused and driven to gain new knowledge and skills every day. They enrich discussions with their classmates. They advocate for themselves and others. And these students are role models for their peers. Students would be described as enthusiastic, determined, and motivated to reach new limits at Miller School. Again, please hold your applause until all students are up, but please join me in welcoming Patrick Jurasek, Rayan Sheikh, Valerie Hatspartska, Yanis Titnanu, Keshav Vishwanath, Mia Duran, Rowan Shirley, Sandro Rodriguez, Catherine Jackson, Edwin Rodriguez, Casper Angelsick, Lydia Engelhart, Abel Price, Madeline Fiandaca, Maximiliano Mesa, Raven Smith, Jalen Volkrol, Luis Alde, Nadia Parada, Yulia Gopa, Emma Judd, Jacob Strohmeyer, Christina Aguirre, Lily Anderson, Andy Reyna, and Nicole Basti. Please join me in honoring our student scholars for the spring semester. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. And students that came from the baseball game, go ahead and play some ball tonight. Thank you. Have a seat, Miller students, and I would like to introduce Mrs. Peterzak from Manning Elementary School.
We're just going to give 1 more minute so we can transition those who are playing some baseball tonight. Good evening. My name is Lindsay Petersak, principal at Manning Elementary. I would like to thank the board, Mr. Carey, teachers, parents, students, and community members for coming to recognize some of our outstanding students in District 201 tonight. Together, we all take part in helping our students to grow and learn, so I want to thank you. It is my honor to announce 6 students at each grade level who have received the Manning Meteor Award for second semester. There are 6 criteria that students must meet in order to be in the running. This criteria goes beyond the achievement and growth in academics in areas like math or English language arts and focuses on the whole child. While our day focuses on helping students to become better readers, writers, and problem solvers, we also have a dedication to making sure our students become kind and compassionate human beings. The following criteria are how our teachers select the students for this award. We strive for our students to be trustworthy, respectful, responsible, fair, caring, and finally, we want our students to become good citizens. So without further ado, we'll start with kindergarten. If you could please hold your applause till the end of the grade level. We'll have everyone come up, take a picture, and celebrate together. First, from kindergarten, Kyle Schwach and Emmy Costello. Eileen Kenny. Zamir Newstadter Walker. Oliver Kenny. And Aubrey Thompson. A round of applause for our kindergarten students. All right, you may take a seat. Our first grade students, Alexis Jindra, Olivia Fannensteel, Chloe Lopez, Alexander McDowell, Rain Engstrom, and Martin Dorner. All right, if we could give our first graders a round of applause. You may take a seat. And now to our second grade students. Natalie Nezgoda, Vincent Cusimano, Evan Schwach, Taylor Pickens, Sophia Edmeyer. And Conrad Kenny. Congratulations. All right, you may take a seat. On to our third grade students. Ava Kamenikis. Grayson Moreland. Sebastian Garcia. Annika Berry. Hugo Gibson. And Kira Henderson. A round of applause. All right, you may take a seat. On to our fourth grade students. Christina Ramirez. Derek Smith. Titus Burbon. Crystal Juarez. Charlie Johnson. And Caitlin Thompson. Round of applause. All right, you may take a seat. Last but not least, our fifth grade students who we are happy to have travel to the junior high next year and will be great assets to the junior high team, starting with Kevin Bustamante. Dayla Belmonte. Jamie Ramos. Deanna D'Amato. Louis Riccardi. And Carly Engelbretson. Congratulations to our fifth grade students. you may take a seat. Before I pass off the baton to the junior high, I just wanted to give a thanks and congratulations to 2 retirees that we have at Manning Elementary. If you could stand up if you're here. Mrs. Deborah Hinman. And I don't know if she's here, Mrs. Patricia Burnside. Nope, not here. We can give her a round of applause, though. A big thank you to dedicating your career to Manning Elementary. Thank you so much. And now I will pass off to Mr. John Jonak, principal at Westmont Junior High.
These people are here, should I read it anyways? Take that one, Commissioner.
Less of a distance. You look very nice. You good? Yeah, let's do it. Hello and good evening. My name is John Jonak. I'm honored to be the principal of Westmont Junior High School. Thank you to the Board of Education and the district administration and the community for having tonight. I think it's an important night. We're going to get started right away with the 6th grade members to be recognized. I'm going to call them up and then I'll tell you why they're coming up here. So at this time, if I could have Charlie Cozart, Morgan Davis, Victoria Dubiel, Isla Elsner, Allie Judd, Nico Konoff, Sean Patterson, Myra Ruiz, Jerry Vasek, and Ryan Wild. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these members of the 6th grade team are being acknowledged as the 2019 Students of the Month. These young men and women have shown leadership skills since the onset of their 6th grade year. Despite the trials that sometimes accompany adolescence, they continue to persevere. These students exhibit Panther attributes, including respect of teachers and peers and responsibility to complete homework and other things. Many of these students have achieved honor roll recognition. They are willing to put forth any extra effort to be positive role models in both actions and academics. Congratulations to my 6th grade students. If you'd like to take any pictures, now is the time. All right, thank you, students. And now, would the following 7th grade students please come up to the stage? Hasib Ali, Daphne Barkin, Callie Devine, Angela Fontenot, Tremaya Goody, Noah Grimm, Anthony Hill, Ivy Ho, Nicole Janakis, Luke Kessner, Olivia Kleifkes, Paul Lalonde, Michelle Naom, Yug Patel, Wyatt Riema, Anna Slewinski, Sydney Timbido, and Giovanni Velasquez. These students are the 7th grade students of the month, and they are throughout the entire school year. It is often difficult being a 7th grader because you're no longer a 6th grader. You kind of know the area, you know what's going on, and you have the 6th graders looking up to you. These students specifically stand out as students that are paying attention to those that are younger and also being a role model to even those that are older. So it's through their behaviors and their actions, the things that they do every day that are being seen and sometimes unseen that make them stand out. Congratulations to the 7th grade students of the month. And this is your picture opportunity. Smile, everybody. And you're good. Have seats. Thank you. The following students, please come up. Joey Dooley, Grace Hayden, Michaela Kim, Dylan Weinbrecht, Josie Belitis, Delaney Dunlap, and Michael Smith. So a little bit of a history lesson as our students are coming up. I was a history teacher at one point in time. The student service learning commitment is something at Westmont Junior High School in which all of our students that graduate on the stage need to have a commitment to serve 36 hours over their 6th, 7th, and 8th grade years in order to walk the stage. That is a commitment that all of our students do. The 8th grade team would like to recognize these students who went above and beyond the SSLC, the Student Service Learning Commitment requirement, for just their 8th grade year. These students exemplify the word commitment, and their efforts have been made a positive impact on local and global communities. In a quote from David Green, you need an attitude of service. You're not just serving yourself. You help others to grow, and you grow with them. And these students have done just that. And so at this time, I'm gonna just say your first name and have you step forward. Michael, 34 hours. Delaney, 34 hours. Josie, 34 and a half hours. Dylan, 38.5 hours. Michaela, 67 hours. Grace, 100 hours. Joey Dooley, 108. I'm not going to count the 0.3, Joey. 108 hours. Congratulations and thank you so much. And picture opportunity. And eighth graders, I've been told by Mr. Balderman that there's some yard signs that you can put in your yard so you can see him afterwards to pick up one, okay? All right, take your seats. And at this time, if I could have the following individuals: Lucas Hicks, Tim Rosland, Rokas Ziolis, Nicole Kristofiak, Dylan Belmonte, Morgan Davis, and of course, Denali Belmonte. You brought your sister, right, Dylan? Okay, good. All right, if I could have the three individuals please step forward: Lucas, Tim, and Rokas. The exploratory team would like to acknowledge the following students for their achievements in band, art, and fundraising. The band recipients each received, these are our band recipients, each received 2 Division I ratings at this year's IESA Solo and Ensemble Festival in Bradley, Illinois on April 6th. These students dedicated extra individual and group practice time to prepare for the event and had excellent performances representing Westmont Junior High School with pride. Thank you very much. All right, Nicole, are you here? Nicole's not here. Nicole had her artwork that is going to be displayed in the hallways at Westmont Junior High School from this time forward. So it's pretty exciting for Nicole. Sorry she couldn't be with us. Dylan, Morgan, and Denali, please step forward. All right. And last but certainly not least, we would like to recognize the top 3 fundraisers in the Hoops for Heart event. The junior high raised over $5,000 for the American Heart Association this year, making it our best year yet. Thanks in large part to these 3 students that collectively, between the 3 of them, raised over $1,500. Congratulations, and thank you. All right, and it is time for your picture. If you guys want to step forward, my band people. Oh, no. There we go. All right, take your seats. Thank you very much. And if I could have Margaret Anders, Isla Elsner, Skyla Johnson, and Michelle Naom. These students' original literary works have been selected to represent and celebrate creativity and talent from Westmont Junior High School. The writing will be a part of the student display at the Delta Kappa Gamma Society International Lambda State Convention. Wow, that was a lot. The statewide convention will host key women educators who continuously work to celebrate, strengthen, and promote education at the local, state, and international level. Congratulations, ladies. And pictures? Thank you very much. Have your seats, please. And there is one teacher from Westmont Junior High School that is going to be retiring at the end of this year, and that is Dr. Civic, who has served not only as a teacher in Westmont Junior High School, but also administrator within the district. So we wish her well. I don't believe she's here tonight, but we do wish her well in her redirection in life. And there's only one other lady, or at least female, that I would like to have come up, and that is Emmy Jonak and Miss Quattrone. Emmy is the educational assistance dog at Westmont Junior High School, and she has just finished her training to be a Canine Good Citizen certified dog. So we're excited to have her, although she's trying to check things out right now. She's a little nervous, everybody, but we're excited to have her, and thanks to the board for all of your support in the program. And at this time, I'd like to have the principal of Westmont High School, Jack Balderman, come up.
You gotta follow the dog, yeah. Hey, 8th graders, before you go, we have these really cool yard signs if you want one. So we only have 100, so if you wanna come and grab one, and to our current students also. Before we get to our students, and I'm very grateful to Mr. Carey and the Board of Education for recognizing them, I wanna say a big congratulations to our teachers who are retiring this year. If you could believe it, somebody spent 40 years in this building. She doesn't look like she spent 40 years in this building, and she's an intensely passionate and dedicated professional up even through this month of her work, but an entire lifetime in this building of service, of kindness to our students, of intelligence, and did so many extracurricular events, including the prom and Business Professionals of America, but a very caring colleague and teacher and great human being, Ms. Bridget Durbin, if you could please. That's pretty incredible. Our other teachers who is retiring from this year, and I don't know if she's here, but she's given 25 years of service, and just like Bridget, in this last month of service, she's just as energized, just as passionate, just as caring and committed to education as her first year of service. It's really incredible. It's inspiring to see these veterans not counting down the days, well, maybe they did a little bit of that, but really continuing to be about what's best for our students, and that's Miss Jane Most. Congratulations to Jane. We're going to begin with our recognizing our boys basketball team. They had an incredible season. Coach Etheridge accumulated his 300th win during this season and was named the District Coach of the Year. The team was just outstanding in wins and losses. I think they won 4 different tournaments, and they would have won a 5th one if it wasn't for injury and a bad officiating call, but we'll get past that. But most impressive aren't the wins and losses for this team. If you watch this team play their entire career in District 201, it's their camaraderie. It was their fellowship. And that's what we really take away from teamwork, right? Their ability to care for each other and pick each other up when they were down. There wasn't infighting. There was tremendous support for each other, whether it came from the bench players or the students that we're going to recognize in a minute who were all conference. But they really were an incredible team, and I did our district proud for many years. First, we have the all-conference boys basketball members, Caden Anderson, Matt O'Leary, and Michael Thompson. And honorable mention all-conference Troy Schlicker. Congratulations, gentlemen. We're very proud of you. I'm going to learn from Mr. Jonick. This is the picture opportunity. That was slick, John. I like that. Guys, don't go too far because we're going to recognize your team. First, though, he went downstate as a three-point shooter. Matt O'Leary, a three-point state finalist. Congratulations to Matthew. And then we're going to recognize the boys basketball regional champions. And Mr. Carey and I stood next to each other during that game, and let me tell you, that was an intense, beautiful game. They really played an excellent team, but they took care of business. So congratulations to our regional champs, starting with Caden Matt O'Leary, Michael Thompson, Troy Schlicker, Quentin Brookins, Ishmael Cohn, Alex Peterzak, Mickey Robb, Jaden West, Eric Balaz, James Ganidek, Christopher Kiefner, Nishat Dalipi, Ben Juska, Darian Williams, and our team manager, Timothy Koronek. Congratulations, gentlemen. We'll get a nice picture of you fine gentlemen and scholars. We have one to me too. I know we have AP testing this week and jobs and some sports, but I'm so glad that so many of you could make it this evening. Congratulations to the regional champions. Nice job. We're going to transition to do some academic recognition at this time. Our valedictorian, salutatorian, the top 10 in the class. You'll notice there's a total of 12 because we had a tie. But let me tell you something, and we'll talk more about this at graduation. What an incredible class this has been. Not just academically, but in their service to others and in their citizenship and discipline. Incredible. The lowest number of referrals of any class that we've ever seen here at Westmont. But on top of that, their academic success is just simply incredible. And so they represent an outstanding group of young people who've really dedicated themselves to academics and helped us to earn some incredible distinctions in these last couple of years. From being ranked nationally on several different national rankings to the exemplary status in the state of Illinois, but most importantly, these 12 individuals were stellar leaders and citizens in their time at Westmont High School. First of all, our valedictorian, Molly Johnson. Molly. Please stand the stage so we get a picture of everybody. Our salutatorian, Anita Vasquez. The other top 10 members of this class of 2019, Caden Anderson, Matthew O'Leary, Ashley Liljeberg, Ben Boxell, Andrea Krubbers, Benjamin Paget, Catherine Rosso, Kyle Nguyen, Lucy Prado, and Connor Duquette. As I said, not just so many of them are Illinois State Scholars, Advanced Placement Scholars, but first and foremost, just excellent citizens and leaders these past 4 years. This is the valedictorian, salutatorian in the top 10 class of 2019 Westmont High School. Let's hear it for them, please. Thank you. Next up, we have another young man who the last 2 years has gone downstate in wrestling. He's also excellent citizen, leader, and does wonderful work in his academics. 4th place overall in the state of Illinois in wrestling as a junior, Curtis Green. Congratulations. Next up, we have Ms. Durbin's Business Professionals of America. These students not only won at the state level, but they qualified at the national level for Business Professional of America. I know that a couple of them are working tonight and are not here, but we do have one of our national finalists. So I want to recognize Luke Gifford, Ashley Liljeberg, and here tonight, competing at the national level and qualifying for the national level, Business Professionals of America, Catherine Rossel. Congratulations.
At this time, we're going to recognize our retirees who will be retiring from 2-1 at the end of the school year. And so when your name is read, if you could please come to the stage and remain on the stage until we get all of our retirees who are here this evening on the stage. First, we have Bridget Durbin. Bridget began her teaching career at Westmont High School in 1979 as a business education teacher, teaching us 6 different courses per day for the last 40.9 years. She teaches 2 College of DuPage dual credit courses and brought dual credit to the district. Last year, WHS was awarded a grant from the Coleman Foundation, which allowed Incubator to be taught at the high school, bringing an authentic entrepreneurial course to the WHS students, and this year she teaches 7 different courses a day. She has been the department coordinator for Business, Fine Arts, and Family and Consumer Science departments, prom sponsor, BPA sponsor, has been the CTA grant coordinator for many years. Besides being passionate about her teaching career at Westmont High School, she loves to spend time with her family, run with her golden retriever Maggie, cooking and baking. As she prepares to transition, she would like everyone to know that she has had the opportunity to do what she loves with a fabulous group of talented people. Congratulations, Bridget. Debbie Hinman. Debbie has a unique history with COSD 201 going back 44 years. She first attended Central School, now Manning School, for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Then she attended Westmont High School for 4 years. This made Debbie a charter member of the class of 1978. She was also the first recipient of the WTA scholarship and the first graduate to return to COSD 201 to teach, starting her special education teaching career in Westmont in 1982. Debbie is proud of the many roles she has played with CSD 201. Most notable, she was instrumental in leading the Manning team in achieving the Illinois Dyslexia Award, the Takes a Village of Readers Award in 2002. Throughout her tenure, Debbie has served on numerous district and building leadership teams, and was part of the Curriculum Advisory Board, started student council at Manning, mentored student teachers, and is well acquainted with extra duties. Debbie feels fortunate and proud to have had the opportunity to work with the wonderful students, families, and colleagues associated with COSD 201. Congratulations, Debbie. Jane Most. Jane began her career as a student teacher in District 201, and she never left. She was hired to teach reading workshop at WHS to fill in for a maternity leave. For the next 5 years, she taught grades 9 through 12 language communications. At the junior high, Jane taught 7th and 8th grade language arts and reading. After raising her family, she returned to teach part-time at WJHS, writing curriculum and heading the gifted program for grades 6, 7, and 8. She worked as a literacy coach and soon began to split a full-time position teaching gifted classes at WHS and honors English classes at WHS. Jane finishes out her career teaching English and honors English at WHS. She coordinates the District 201 New Teacher Mentor Program, sponsors the WHS Student Leadership Team, and participates in District Leadership Team and Curriculum Advisory Council. Jane has also presented at district, county, and statewide professional development workshops. She looks forward to spending her retirement with treasured family and friends, traveling, riding her bike, gardening, and learning. Congratulations to Jane. Ann Cadella. Ann was hired as a resource teacher for CUSD 201 elementary students in 2000. After 2 quick years, she was placed in a second grade position where she found her home and will retire from this year. Throughout her career, she has served on various committees as she worked with parents to constantly update and improve curriculum and instruction for students, and retires with strong feelings of gratitude to have worked with such dedicated people in such a distinguished school district. And congratulations to Ann. Next, we have Lillian Sy. Lillian began teaching at CUSD 201 in 2002 as a part-time special education resource teacher at Manning Elementary School. The following year, she became a full-time teacher at Manning and remained in the same assignment for 11 years. In the fall of 2013, Lillian joined the early childhood team at South School to start an all-day early childhood self-contained special education class. Lillian has served as the WTA building rep for 6 years and has been a longtime member of the district facility committee. She is a member of the preschool screening team. For the past 5 years, Lillian has served with Jane Mose as coordinator of the first-year staff mentoring program. Lillian has been a teacher with CUSD 201 for a total of 17 years. Congratulations, Lillian. Pat Burnside. Pat began working for CUSD 201 as a district speech therapist in August 2003. Over the years, she has worked with children from preschool to 5th grade at Manning Elementary School and South Early Childhood Center. Patricia joins numerous school teams and a few district committees throughout the years. She mentored new professional staff when assigned, and she was a clinical fellowship mentor for a few speech therapists through the American Speech and Language Hearing Association. Patricia was an on-site clinical supervisor for graduate students from St. Xavier University who when requested since 2007. Her most recent role was an on-site clinical speech supervisor was for a graduate student who attended Eastern Illinois University from June 2015 to June 2017. Recently, Patricia received the ACE Continuing Education Award from the American Speech Language Hearing Association in May 2018. Patricia is very grateful to have worked in Westmont School District 201 for so many years. She'd like to thank all, and especially the children, for such an enriching experience that will never be forgotten. Congratulations to Pat. Christy Civic. Christy began her CSD 201 career in 2005 as principal at South School. After South's closing, she became director of curriculum for the district. For the last 8 years, Christy has been teaching at the junior high in the role of learning behavior specialist. She says that it's been an honor to work in multiple capacities within the district. I will miss my colleagues and the wonderful friendships I've made. I will cherish all the memories created with my students. Congratulations to Christy. Kathy McCrory. Kathy began working for CUSD 201 as a sub for food service in 1986. Over the years, she has worked as a salad maker, baker, and head cook. She's a head cook for the district for 20 plus years. Kathy McCrory retired September 28, 2018 with 32 years of service. She was a true leader, one of the first to arrive for work every day. Kathy was a member of the Illinois School Nutrition Association. As a child, Kathy attended Central School, now Manning Elementary School. While employed with CUSD 201 Food Service Department, Kathy served with children and grandchildren. All attended CUSD 201 schools. Kathy is a lifelong Westmont resident. She enjoys spending time with her family, reading, and she loves lighthouses. Congratulations, Kathy. Mike Maros. Mike began his CUSD 201 career, began his CUSD 201 career 36 years, starting in the grounds department in August 1983. He moved through many departments fairly quickly, including evening custodian, night supervisor at the high school, Manning School head custodian, Westmont High School head custodian, head of maintenance, and for the last 18 years, director of facilities. He is very proud to have been involved in facility projects that have modernized and brought our buildings up to the standard expected of the Board of Education, staff, students, and parents throughout the community. He's also proud to have developed productive relationships with contractors, suppliers, developed Village of Westmont and the Westmont Park District. Most importantly, he wants to thank the incredible staff, both past and present, that have enriched his life over the years with Westmont School District. Congratulations, Mike. Thank you for your many years of service to our district.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to our meeting, and you are all perfectly welcome to stay. If you did not want to, this would be the time to leave, but you are invited to stay.
I didn't realize Mike was all the way up at the top.
Okay, we will now move to the minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 23rd, 2019 first regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 23rd, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the April 23rd, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, are there any public comments? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Personnel recommendations, licensed staff, Alec Palmer, .6 FTE English teacher, Westmont High School. Jamie Savage, long-term substitute social worker, Westmont Junior High School. Jody Brubaker, summer school teacher. Nicole Capola, summer school teacher. 2, approval of student tours. 3, appointment of school treasurer. 4, approval of audit engagement letter. 5, approval of May 2019 expenditure report. And 6, ratification of April 2019 regular payroll.
So moved.
I'm sorry, roll call. No, go ahead.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please. Thank you.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll go to our first discussion item, the proposed student handbook revision, second reading.
I believe Mr. Weiler is here this evening.
Good evening. I had a couple questions that Mr. Weck asked me to clarify as it pertains to the elementary handbook. And the questions were to give a couple examples of schools in the vicinity that have a 0-degree benchmark as with the wind chill as their benchmark to keep the kids indoors for indoor recess or to go outside. And the 2 schools we were able to reach out to clarify was Prospect and Clarendon Hills, and Whittier and Downers Grove. Both have a benchmark. It is not documented as school board policy nor in their handbook, but it is what they communicate with families about keeping kids active and going outside with the proper attire. And I do know at our PTO, or at one of our PTO meetings back in April, Miller parents communicated about, wow, you know, that could be a low threshold, but if students are equipped with the right boots and snow pants and jackets and hats and gloves, they were definitely much more comfortable knowing that staff at Miller School would be going outside with students that were equipped to handle the elements. But the main thing is that Miller and Manning would be in tandem in terms of making decisions on, which we currently are. Whenever it's close, we call each other, our offices call each other to make sure we're both doing the same thing, because we definitely know that is a point of contention when one school allows their kids to go outside when the weather is the same a mile away. So we just want to be on the same page in terms of communicating with our families and making sure kids get some activity. And both recess times are 20 minutes long, so by the time they actually get their gear on and outside, it's more like 15 minutes. But both schools are equipped to lowering the threshold from 20 down to a level that would allow us to get outside and be active for that 15, 20 minutes during the, and after this harsh winter, we're definitely, the kids and staff were not excited about staying in for indoor recess. So we're just looking for a better threshold to be outside and have the kids still play and know how to play outside when the elements are not ideal.
I just had a quick question, because it was me that brought it up. Did I hear you correctly that you said the schools that you brought up don't actually have it in their handbook or in their policy?
That's
It's just like their unwritten rule?
That's the information that was shared with me, yes.
Okay.
We tried looking in their board policy, we couldn't find it, and we got copies of their handbook, and it was not in there. So it's just the communication from those two schools to their families.
And Tim, a quick question. What happens when a student isn't properly attired for the weather?
So first, there's a couple procedures we put in place. If you want to play in the snow, then you have to have full equipment to play in the snow, which would mean boots, snow pants, jacket, hats, and gloves. So students would be allowed to walk outside, but not in the elements. So if they didn't have winter boots on, they are still allowed to go outside. They just can't play in the snow. And both schools do a pretty good job of monitoring the snow pants and all the other equipment needed to be outside. But they are allowed to go outside as long as they have hat, winter jacket, and gloves. And we are definitely, the PTO at Miller, when we had this discussion, we're interested in putting some kind of clothing bank near the exit of the cafeteria, so students that needed to borrow some items outside of hats, that was one item that we wouldn't want students to borrow. But we would maybe provide students with some kind of, whether it's a hat drive, or there was a couple creative ideas about reaching out to some community organizations about getting hats for all the students that were in need of hats. We already do a jacket drive through our social worker, Ms. Reynolds. So adding a couple smaller components would definitely be something we'd be interested in doing to make sure everyone is prepared to be outside. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. For the handbook for the high school, I just had a question about the topic we talked about last board meeting concerning the class rank and whether it had to be on the transcript or not. And so we removed that language about class rank, the suggested changes from the first read into the second read. So that leaves standing what was currently in the book, which I don't believe says that it has to be on the transcript. I'd have to double check that to be sure, but that was my question, is if a student didn't want that printed on their transcript, is there a way that we can make that happen? And that way students that want it, it can be there, and students that don't want it, it doesn't have to be there.
Yeah, yes, the high school could set up that parents can, or students can request that their class rank not appear on their transcript.
And so if that's the case, should that go into the handbook, or should that be, should parents, students be notified of that by some other method? It seems logical it would be in the handbook, so I don't know if that language, a sentence or two on that particular issue could go into
Yeah, we can-
the handbook.
The board
language.
agrees that we could do that, and then I would also recommend, though, that's communicated to families as well.
Okay.
Since we had a prior discussion about that particular line and we didn't really reach a consensus, we never got a full discussion as a school board, could we put that on the agenda before the next revision in the next year? Just to revisit that, put that on the agenda,
Yes.
so we can have a full
Right.
conversation.
Do you mean what the
I'm sorry,
attorneys,
thank you for.
what the attorneys said?
Know about the particular question of student rank.
Yes.
At the high school.
Yes, we can have
Alright,
that
thank
as a
you.
discussion item.
Wonderful.
That's what I would recommend, is that we bring that
Yes.
as a
Not the
discussion.
Yes.
Having it, right now it goes out on all the transcripts,
Okay.
class rank. And so my question was, can we make that basically optional if you want it or
Sure.
don't want it?
Sure.
And so is that part of something you're looking to
I think that could be part of the.
rediscuss?
Not moving
Or the other
forward.
elements of,
I think we can move forward with that suggestion.
Okay.
I have no issue with that, but I just think the whole discussion of class rank, we can revisit, including that next year.
Yes, okay.
That's totally fine to move forward.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, then when we get to it, I'll just do as amended.
Right, as amended, when we approve it, we'll say as amended.
Does anyone is that okay with everyone when we get to that point? Okay. Any other questions on the student handbooks?
Is there any additional staff members outside the board you want me to invite for that discussion? Or is that something,
I'll take.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll take
All
care
right.
of that, too.
very good. Thank you,
Okay, thank you.
appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is the refresh of student Chromebooks, grades 5 through 8.
Good evening, Board of Education, Mr. Carey. I'm here to answer any questions with regard to the planned refresh for Chromebooks for students for grades 5 through 12. No, I'm sorry, 5 through 8. 5 through 8. We're going to change out the devices that the junior high and the 5th graders are using to be a newer model, which is almost identical to what the high school students are using, which is a touch screen and a flip device that can act as a tablet. Some of the devices that are currently being used by those grade levels will then be repurposed for grades 2 through 4. Most of them will be recycled or taken out of our stock.
And the cost is in the budget already?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? All right. The next item for discussion is the refresh of teacher computers for Manning and Miller Elementary School.
So once again, this is a planned refresh, but the item is in our budget. We're replacing the staff desktops with laptops. Our teachers have had the opportunity to evaluate the device, and it's been a real popular decision. So if you have any questions with regard to that decision.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. And then the next item on the agenda is presentation of life safety survey.
Good evening. Steve Cashman, the district's architect, conducted the required health life safety survey, and the report identifies relatively minor violations that the district must bring into compliance within the next 3 years. The report summarizes work necessary by location by our 5 buildings, and a few of those items include maybe installing a floor drain, some door replacements, some venting and duct work, and some piping, to name a few of the items. The total project cost is, for the 5 buildings, is $231,600. Then we also added contingency fees of 10%, and then architect and engineering fees of additional 10% for any projects that need to be bid or, have a few complexities with them. So the total project cost, including those fees, is $277,920. And we have a couple of funding sources that we can use for this. We have some remaining health, life, safety funds on hand, $141,825, and then the remaining $136,000 will come from the O&M budget over the next few years so that we can complete the projects. And then our architect will be filing this report with the Illinois State Board of Education. Does anybody have questions?
Kim, when I was looking at the estimated completion date for the work, they all mentioned within 3 years.
Correct.
So some of the safety, especially related to health, fire safety, I was just curious why there wasn't a faster completion date for some of the items versus maybe just replacing piping or drainage.
We will be working on those right away. We'll be prioritizing those items.
Okay.
And that's what we can use those health, life safety funds that we currently have on hand for.
The timeline that's established by the State Board of Ed. So the State Board of Ed says we have to complete these within 3 years,
That's
but
right.
our goal is to complete them.
Yeah, that's not our project
Okay.
timeline.
Thank you for
And
clarifying.
any items that need to be bid or whatever, we'll be bringing those to the board for approval prior to doing those.
Can you remind me what the threshold for putting a project out to bid is? At what point, what size of a project do we bid out?
50,000.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, then we will move to the action items.
Maria, I have a quick request on the first one. If we could please split the vote from, I'd like to take the elementary handbook and vote on that separately from the other two, please.
Is that okay? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the recommended revisions to the elementary student handbook as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
No?
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the recommended revisions to the junior high school and high school student handbooks as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes?
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the approval of VoIP phone system.
The board received 4 proposals, or the district did, 4 proposals from vendors for phone systems. 3 of those were premise-based, which means they're located, housed in our district. And 1 was a hosted system, and that's, hosted at the vendor. So our consultant, Dave Wilson, went through all the proposals and then met with the technology department, Mike Mayoris, and me, to go over, and A.D. Norris, to go over all of the proposals. And through the review, the Mitel system with Midco is the most appropriately valued phone system for the district. The system acquisition cost will be $122,576. And then we also added a 5% contingency fee in there, just for any unanticipated costs we may encounter with replacing the phone system. So the total cost of the phone system will be could be $128,705. And if you recall, we had put a budget in the 5-year capital project report of $185,000, which included the consultant cost. So the project overall, with the equipment installation, with a 5% contingency, and with our consultant cost, is going to be $140,105. So that is $44,895 less than anticipated, which was a good thing. And so we're going to use some of that remaining funds in our capital project report. But I'm recommending that we approve the voice over IP phone system purchase with Midco in the amount of $128,705.
Are there any questions?
Questions?
And we're happy with this system outside of the cost? I mean,
Yes, yes, it comes highly recommended. And actually two vendors proposed the same system, and then there are several school districts that are using the same system as well.
Okay, any other questions? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the phone system purchase with Midco Inc. in the amount of $128,705 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Armstrong?
yes,
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item for, an action item is approval of 5-year capital projects.
We previously presented the capital project plan at the last board meeting, April 29th. Since then, we have had a few additions to the project based on the life safety survey. And the facilities committee met and discussed the life safety survey, as well as adding all the items that could be done within 10 years are recommended, but didn't have to be on the actual submission to the state. So those items have been included in the report, and they are highlighted in gray at the end of each school's pages. And then we also went through, so then I went through some of them were already previously we had identified through just our, building tours and things. So I removed duplicates, and so a lot of the totals have changed, but on the report for 2019, the items that we're recommending that we do are highlighted in yellow, and in the priority column, they have one asterisk. And then the facility committee also talked about the items that are high priority for some of the buildings, and we have some roofing issues that really need to be addressed. We have chiller replacement and a building automation system at the high school, roof replacement at both the junior high and the high school, and then HVAC rooftop units that need to be replaced at the junior high. And so when we totaled all of those items up, they are in the chart for you. So the ones that we're recommending for 2019-20 that will come out of the O&M fund, those total $303,460. And we have $318,000 in the budget. That remaining funding can either be used to do some of those 3-year life safety projects yet next year, or it'll just be unallocated funds right now for emergency items that may come up through the year that we may need to address. And then we're also looking at the high school, the driver's ed car that will come out of the education fund. And then as far as the items that could go on a life safety report, but that we're not going to put on because they don't need to be on it, but if we wanted to issue life safety bonds, we could put those on the report and issue bonds for them. So at the high school, it's 1.966 million. At the junior high, almost 3.2 million. Manning, 252,000, and at Miller, 216,000. So a total of almost $5.6 million of projects that we should do within the next year or two. We will be looking at funding sources for those projects. One of the things that we could do, and we'll have a conversation with the Finance Committee about that. We could issue some of our working cash bonds for that, so using our non-referendum debt capacity. But we want to look at that because we don't have a full $6 million of capacity without tying up funding for too long for the district. So I'm looking at a couple of different options. We do have some bond money that we can put toward it. So we'll be bringing information back at another board meeting to discuss how we do those projects. But out of those, these were the projects that the committee prioritized as ones that we really needed to start working on over the next year. So we'll be meeting again with Steve Cashman, looking at funding, and then having him start working on some of the designs and specs for those projects, and then bring them back to the board at a later date for discussion and approval. Anybody have additional questions?
So the approval of the 5-year capital projects, what we're voting on right now, is just our plan.
We're voting on the 303,000 in the O&M fund.
Okay.
And the 18,000 for in O&M fund, and then the 18,000 in the ed fund.
And those are, the car was coming out of the ed fund, and
Yep.
then the rest of the
And the rest is coming
318.
out of the O&M fund. So like at Manning, it was the lunchroom table replacement, a door replacement, some masonry work. Miller was rebuilding the asphalt path from the parking lot to the back student entrance. South was some minor masonry work. At the junior high, it was carpet replacement in 4 rooms. And then at the high school, there were some science lab stations and ADA compliant lockers that we had to do as a result of a TCD compliance visit for a grant that they had received. The gymnasium partition curtain we added because it's non-operable, and we had that a little bit of additional money because the phone system came in less. You just approved the phone system, but that's included in this cost.
So essentially any priority items, but just the
Correct, and
priority
they're all
items.
yellow, highlighted in yellow.
The 1 star?
The 1 star.
The 1 star.
1 star. Yep, in the 2019-20 column.
Got it.
Okay, are there any other questions? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the 5-year capital projects as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, then we're going to the approval of life safety survey. The chair will enter a motion to approve the life safety survey as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Then the next one is authority for additional May expenditures. The chair will entertain a motion to authorize and direct the treasurer to pay any bills received in May 2019 that have been budgeted for the 2019 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item is the Title I school-wide waiver.
The Title I school-wide waiver is a routine paperwork or routine report that we have to provide ISB so that we can maintain our school-wide funding status for Miller, the high school and the junior high. So as your paperwork or your report indicates that we changed our status for those 3 schools because in 2015, each of those schools were over 40% free and reduced. And that provided the opportunity for us to change our funding model for Title I from, or to school-wide, which gives us more flexibility to be able to fund our educational programs and supplement our program with the title funds.
Okay, are there any questions? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the Title I school-wide waivers for C.E. Miller Elementary, Westmont Junior High School and Westmont High School as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Rudy.
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then the next item is Consolidated District Plan for Title Grants.
This plan is, we are held accountable to have the Board of Education approve this particular plan. This is the plan that we provide ISB, stating what our needs assessments have provided and our goals for spending federal funds for all of the state grants. What the format of this report is new for us. This is what ISB's done is they've consolidated all of the state grant applications into one. So this report or this application is a comprehensive plan of our needs assessments and our plan for utilizing federal funds to support our educational program, including Title I, Title II, which is professional development, Title III, which supports our EL students, Title IV, which is a grant program that we have not applied for as of yet, but we will be, which provides opportunities for us to perhaps do some innovative programs for SEL or technology, and the IDEA grants for flow-through in preschool.
Okay, are there any questions? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the Consolidated District Plan for Title Grants as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stromeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Rudy.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the superintendent's report.
Just a couple items in my report. First of all, congratulations to Westmont Junior High School Principal John Jonek. John was named the Westmont Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau Educator of the Year. And just a reminder to families that, again, registration for the 2019-2020 school year will take place at Westmont Junior High School on August 6, 2019 from 2 o'clock p.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. All families will register at the junior high on August 6th, regardless of the age of their children or the schools their children attend. All families will need approved residency at the time of registration, and registration information will be available on the district website after July 1st.
Okay, you have that? Okay. Are there any board reports? I would just like to say our next meeting isn't until June, so I'd like to wish everyone, staff, students, and families a wonderful summer, and congrats to all the graduates who will have graduated by the next time we have a meeting. So, all right, future meetings and events. Westmont High School Spring Concert and Art Exhibit, May 15th at 7 o'clock at Westmont High School. Westmont Junior High School Spring Concert, May 16th at 7 o'clock at Westmont High School. The 8th grade transition night, May 20th, 7 o'clock at Westmont High School. Memorial Day, May 27th, there was no school. High school graduation, May 28th, 7 o'clock, Westmont High School. Junior high school graduation, June 4th at 7 o'clock, Westmont High School. Manning Spring Concert, June 5th at 7 o'clock, Westmont High School. The last day of school is June 6th, and the next school board meeting, June 25th at 7 o'clock at the Westmont Village Hall. The chair will entertain a motion to enter into closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity and student discipline.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Rudy.
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there will be a motion after closed. Okay, we have one action item. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the resignation agreement with tenured teacher Christopher Harold.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
No.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.